So to this day, I think that one of the most fascinating events in ReZero was just Emilia's third trial. I mean, we were literally given final lines, quotes, and insight from characters and events that we won't see take place until the final arc. And I feel like we all just glazed past it for some reason. So in this video, let me explain this third trial, who these futures could be about, and also theories about like what this means for the future of the story. And real quick, no spoilers past arc 5, most of this is just speculation. And let's get into it. So first things first, what is Emilia's third trial? So around the middle of arc 4, in order to free the people of the sanctuary, Emilia was forced to complete 3 trials set in place by Echidna. And in these trials, the chosen individual will be faced to confront their uncomfortable past, unthinkable present, and potential future. Now, what's interesting about Emilia's third trial is that during it, all at once, Emilia became privy to a litany of futures. And how it works is that basically this trial calculates Emilia's future by using a combination of her memories and Echidna's knowledge of the world. But in the novels and the anime, they paint these futures as something that's most likely to be inevitable, a disaster yet to come. So basically, I would think of these as just extremely accurate predictions. But anyways, in the anime and the novels, we're pretty much just given a bunch of out of context lines from unknown characters, some seemingly unimportant and enigmatic, and others, for lack of better words, big deals. But very interestingly, for these scenes, the anime decided to like use the actual voice actors for these lines. So using a combination of that and this spreadsheet on which called translation, we actually know who said these things and can actually start putting some pieces together. So starting first at the most interesting line, it reads, "I hate you. I hate you. Since the day I met you, I've hated you so much." However, while we know these lines are uttered by Emilia, we can actually get more context from this scene if we compare it to the light novel. In the light novels, this reads, "Hate, hate, I hate you. I really hate you. Really, all of it is true. Always, since the moment I met you. I have hated you. I cannot stand the sight of you." The instant she came into contact with the light, a voice echoed directly into her consciousness. Simultaneously, a powerful reddish scene leaped towards her. She switched places in a moment she had never witnessed played before. The sun was unnaturally large and smoke was rising from the scorched flames, and standing right beside an enormous decrepit sculpture bathed directly in the scarlet sunlight was a silver-haired girl marred with blood, Emilia. The grown-up version of herself she had just seen in the second trial was standing there, blood-ridden. I've thought this many times and I've denied this many times, but the nightmare has truly come, so I will say it. A smile came over her bloody face. It was a smile toward the person she had hated the most in that world. Perhaps it is true we should have never met. At the bottom of her purple eyes, a tear formed a single line as it gently fell. Now, was I yapping? Yes, but there were some important observations. First, these bloody octagonal tiles in the vision match the octagonal tiles in the royal castle. And given that the castle is destroyed, we can assume that something major happened here. And second, knowing that this is Emilia talking, and she's saying things like, "I hate you, I wish we never met," and even the narration says that this person that she's talking to is the person that she hated the most in this world. Although I know some people theorize Subaru or Roswell, I think the most likely theories as to who she's talking to is either Pandora or Sirius. I said Pandora because why wouldn't Emilia hate Pandora given all the things that she did to her in the past? But I say Sirius given the last line, the tear that rolled down her face. Now, assuming that the Sirius is Fortuna theory is correct, in my mind, the only reason Emilia would be crying while saying something like this to the person that she apparently hates the most in this world is because maybe she realized that this person that she hates is somebody that she used to love. This could be crackpot, but maybe she said, "I cannot stand the sight of you," because she means I cannot stand to see what you become. I don't know, bro. Headcanon shit. Let's move on. Next, let's talk about this line. "You're a hero. A hero is all you can be." Now, this line is most likely Subaru talking to Reinhardt. Kind of obvious due to the whole hero bit, but let's consult the novels. Now, this bit is kind of girthy, kind of like the last one, so I'm kind of going to skip around. But it reads, "It's just like you said, that kid is our enemy, but our wounds run deep." But that kid's still a kid. Isn't this enough? The scene then changes and then 2 figures appear. And although Emilia couldn't tell exactly who they were, she could tell that they were both making melancholic faces. You're a hero. You can't be anything but a hero. Thank you for saving me, damn it." A little bit after it reads, "It was a parting of nigh unbearable sadness. It was a moment of parting marred by indelible despair." So, theories. If we're still assuming that this is Subaru talking to Reinhardt, we can assume that by these lines and also like the weird like melancholic feeling around this moment, by Reinhardt doing what he usually does, that being save people, he might have inadvertently also caused a death or like just inconvenience of something that Subaru really wanted. Kind of like how Reinhardt did in Arc 5. But that's all I got. Next, let's talk about this line. "You cannot even wield a sword without it, thief." Now, unlike before, the novels pretty much say the same thing. With it reading, "Without that, have you not even a sword to swing, you damn thief?" Now, as for who I think says this, it sounds like Wilhelm. And if we assume that's right, he's 100% talking to Reinhardt. We all know that especially after Arc 5, Wilhelm holds this like crazy grudge against Reinhardt for killing Theresia, or I guess kind of indirectly being the cause of it. So following that, this sword in question has to be Reinhardt's dragon sword, which literally cannot be opened unless wielded by a sword saint. So the it in question has to be the divine protection. Maybe in the future, Reinhardt loses his divine protections for some reason and is forced to fight, but he can't open the sword, and thus Will is mad at him. I don't know. Moving on, we have this line that reads, "Subaru, I know you and Emilia-sama are both tired." In the novels, they add, "Sorry, and yet even I'd become a burden on you. I always wanted to say I'm sorry for never measuring up." Now, these lines are most likely said by Petra, and as for why she's saying this, I'm going to be honest, I could not tell you. Moving on to the next line, it reads, "My precious granddaughter has grown into such a fine young lady, no?" Now, this line is most likely uttered by old man Rom, and obviously this granddaughter in question has to be felt. And this actually leads into a theory that I think is going to happen very soon. I'm pretty sure that sometime into the future, we're going to get a major time skip. Nothing too crazy, but maybe like 2 or 3 years. It might be far-fetched to say, but I feel like it makes sense. And maybe this line is delivered by Rom post time skip to describe how far Felt has come. Or maybe none of what I just said happens and this line is only delivered because Felt wins the royal selection. Could be either. Next, we have this line that reads, "I'm sorry, I couldn't kill you." In the novels, this reads, "Sorry, sorry. I'm so sorry I can't kill you because I'm weak. Sorry, even so, I'll keep you to myself for all eternity. I'm so sorry I'm so weak. Now this is a juicy one. Some people think this is Subaru, some people think this is Aldebaran. To be honest, I couldn't tell you if it was either, though I do have a theory as to who this person that was supposed to be killed is. I feel like this is Satella. The line, I'll keep you to myself for all eternity, just screams it. It could be Subaru because in Shadow Garden scenes, he's shown to really just like have this infatuation with Satella. And that's kind of what the Shadow Garden is reminiscent of, just kind of spending eternity with that woman. And if you subscribe to the Subaru as Al theory, it could also be that. I mean, Al has been shown to have this weird loop type ability that we've seen in Arc 5. And the only person that can produce an ability like that is Satella. So I don't know, it could be either. For the next line we have, if that's the case, I should have just been wrapped up in that cave and left for dead. Now this is most likely auto talking, and in the novels it reads, what you feel like is fulfilling your promise. If so, you should have left me to die wrapped in a mat in the cave. If you were going to show me a dawn like this, it should have ended there. Damn it all. So first, this cave that he's talking about is the cave that Subaru was trapped in episode 15. Because if you remember, since Subaru wasn't trapped there in his perfect loop, Otto was trapped there instead and got saved by Ram. But from these lines, we can assume that Otto is either about to die or just seen a very bleak future. It also seems like he feels like he's been betrayed by somebody probably close to him, given the lack of fulfilling a promise. I don't really know what this could be, but we can move on. Now next, we have this line that I'm almost positive is said by Krush. It reads, under no circumstances shall I be killed by something as nonsensical as a curse. And in the light novels, they pretty much say the same thing. However, let's think about this. This curse in question almost has to be that dragon blood curse that she was afflicted with in Arc 5. But what I find interesting is that just the tone and just the manner in which she says this is very reminiscent of the old Krush before she lost her memories. So with this, we can assume that she gets them back at some point and is probably in the middle of getting her revenge. Going forward again, we have this new line that says, there, you see, I win again. Now, while the novels pretty much say the same thing, I feel like we can almost guarantee that this is fucking Priscilla talking. There are only a few people in the ReZero world that are as cocky as that, so I think it makes sense. As to what she won, maybe the royal selection, that's just about all that makes sense. Back to the trial, we have another really interesting line that reads, to think someone I wanted to kill so badly turned out to be a kind person. The novels pretty much say the same thing, except they replace kind with gentle and also add what a nightmare at the end of the sentence. And as for the person that says this, it's most likely Ram. Now the question is, who the fuck would Ram be talking about? If y'all want my guess, I think Aldebaran. And my reasoning has to deal with the bit of cut content from the anime. In Arc 3, when Subaru and Rem go to Priscilla's mansion for help with the white whale, Al had asked Rem if her sister was still alive. And when Rem answers yes, Al gets really fucking serious for some reason. And then later asks the both of them to leave because he is now in a bad mood. Now, given this really weird fucking reaction to Ram, wouldn't y'all think that Al was this person too? Maybe Aldebaran has his reasons and isn't all bad, which is why she says he's a kind person. But who knows? Moving forward, we have this line by Julius that reads, if I bend my knee and I lose my sword, what is left for me? Now, it's speculated that the person that says this is Julius, but in the light novels, this line is more so posed as a question to somebody else. In the novels, it reads, you have bent your knee before irresistible despair, and you have even lost your sword. What is it you still cling to? Now, this you lost your sword question is directed to himself. He maybe said this due to events that happened after Arc 5, after he lost his memory, or rather, people lost the memories of him. Now, if it's more like the light novel and it's directed towards somebody else, I'm assuming this is Reinhardt, because it kind of links back to that previous future that Willem was talking about Reinhardt losing his sword and not being able to like wield it. You know what I mean. Back to the trials, we have this next line that reads, what's so hard about saying I don't want to be alone? From the use of the word saying and also just from the voice, we could tell that this is Anastasia. And in the light novels, this line reads, am I really that greedy? Do I really ask for too much? I don't want to be alone. I don't want to become alone. Is that so hard to understand? Now in my head, I feel like the only reason Anastasia would say something like this is because maybe she lost Mimi or maybe one of the other triplets. I'm gonna be honest though, I don't know who she would be talking to. Back again to the trials, we have this line that reads, I'm gonna kill you just like I promised, Natsuki Subaru. Now this is 100% Garfield talking. The light novels pretty much say the same thing. And I'm just gonna be honest, I don't know why he would be saying this to them. The only reason that makes sense is that maybe Subaru did something shady behind Garfield's back, or maybe he threatened Frederica's life. But I don't really know. But going back to the lines again, this one reads, I have realized that I have not walked alone all this time. That's all. Now this is most likely Roswell talking, but in the novels it's kind of changed a bit. It reads, I merely realized something. The days I spent up until now were by no means days I walked alone. Now if you ask me, these people that Roswell might have been walking together with probably are Ram, Rem, and maybe Frederica. Or Hector, we don't know what happened with that nigga. Regardless, I feel like you only utter a line like this right before you're about to die. So maybe this is within Roswell's final lines in the series. Next, we have the line, I suppose we must shed every last drop of blood in our bodies to atone. This is Frederica talking, and the light novels pretty much say the same thing. And if you ask me what this could be detailing, I could not tell you. This could be any number of fights that she could end up in. But the word atone is very interesting, so I'm wondering what this atoning could be for. Next, we have this line that reads, why won't the soul take hold? Now, this is most likely uttered by Felix. Now, although it's hard to tell what he could be referring to, if we're talking about affixing souls to vessels, maybe this has something to do with Satella or some of the other witches. And since Felix is renowned as the best healer in the world, I guess it would make sense that he'd be entrusted with affixing these specific souls, but that's just pure speculation. Moving swiftly along, we have this line that reads, magic, dragons, whatever stands in my way, I'll destroy it. Now, this is actually Felt talking, probably. And in the novels, this line reads, whether it's justice or villainy, you can't solve every problem under the sun. And that's just what you stepped in. If you block my or our path, it doesn't matter if you're a witch or a dragon, I'll crush you. I cannot for the life of me tell you what the fuck the context is behind this. It just sounds like something Felt would say on an average Tuesday. So I'm just gonna label this ambiguous. Now for the last and final lines in this trial, holy fuck, this is a long video. I'm just gonna read what they said in the light novel. I believe praying for one's desires is arrogance. Praying is for seeking forgiveness. forgiveness. In the future of the final light, a girl her waking self should have never set eyes upon spoke those words. It was not fleeting enough to be hopeful and too bold to be despairing. Her non-existent pulse quickened. After all, she'd seen nothing but sad, agonizing futures in all that time. I want to have a proper conversation with you, no matter what the future holds. He thought that if a certain boy was with her, they could speak together and laugh about the futures they hoped for. Now, there is no way in hell that these lines were uttered by anybody other than Rem. And the boy that she would be laughing with was not Subaru. I mean, in the anime, they literally showed a silhouette of both of those characters. Now, I feel like that knowing this only means one thing. Best girl is back! Rem is most likely going to have to wake up in the future and say these lines. As for when, we're just gonna have to wait and see. And with that, that is all the lines and all the theories I wanted to talk about surrounding this event. This video, I swear to God, took me an hour to record and came out to a 20-minute video. So please, if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something new, like, follow, and also check out the Twitch. It would be greatly appreciated. I'm going to shower because I'm sweaty as fuck, and I'ma catch you.